What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is I, the Goof, and we finally just got another letter from the producer Moreno, discussing more about Action Game Maker. So he wanted to talk about Godot Engine first. We're going to go down the list. My voice is already cracking, and I'm parched already. I've actually had several different recordings, and I've had to delete each one and start over because it's just I don't know how to approach this video. It's gonna be pretty negative. It's not gonna be a positive video because from what I've read through this already, because I've read through it once already, they're making some very bad decisions. All right. Okay. All right. So let's start with this little section right here. We're gonna read this. I expect that most of the people reading this are likely to be aware of Godot Engine. To be honest, I was not aware of Godot Engine until the announcement of Action Game Maker. At least maybe I don't think I was. Maybe I was and I forgot about it. But thanks to all the attention and focus it has received over the last few years, the modern UI, tile mapping functions, 2D and sprite animations, collision handling, shaders, engine, lighting and shadow system, and wide platform support, it really isn't lacking in any feature one would want from a modern game engine. However, we mustn't lose sight of the fact that, like Linux and so many other projects, Godot Engine is open source software. Without a major corporation behind it, Godot Engine succeeds thanks to the effort of the many contributors and patrons who form such a passionate community. The amount of communication and discussions leading to the high pace of improvements we see every few months is amazing to see. For those that aren't too familiar with open source, Godot Engine is made available on the MIT license. This license is one of the most open and unrestricted of the open source licenses. As long as proper attributions are handled, Action Game Makers allowed to access the Godot Engine source code. There's a little issue with this right here. So let's switch over and look a bit more at Action Game Maker. Action Game Maker and Godot. Currently, Action Game Maker is under development using version 4.1 of the Godot editor, but we are moving to Godot 4.3 before release. Generally speaking, the basic structure of Godot projects, as well as the animation and sound systems, will be the basic Godot experience with the addition of the high-level visual scripting system that we created for Pixel Game Maker MV. Um, Godot is a confusing mess. Let's go over to Godot real quick. I've been fumbling around trying to find things and I have no idea what I'm doing. In an effort to make a very simple, all-in-one, all on the same screen sort of editor, they made it very confusing and I get lost easily. I haven't found anything. I don't know what the hell I'm actually doing. I've been sitting here fumbling around with it for a while trying to figure some things out. I have no idea. The only thing I do know is there's supposed to be a way, and I found videos on YouTube about it. They have what's called a terrain, and terrain is where you can make auto tiles. It is auto tiles, and it is vastly superior to anything that RPG Maker has, and it's vastly superior to anything that is in Pixel Game Maker, which is the exact same auto tiles that RPG Maker currently uses, which is to say it sucks. It's bad. It's very, very bad. No offense to Moreno, but yeah, we're gonna get to that here in a second. Let's keep reading. So, beyond the visual scripting system, some additional functions specifically for the development of side-scrolling games are being implemented. One example is an RPG Maker inspired auto tile system. No. RPG Maker has a terrible auto tile system. I don't like that they're adding that auto tile system. For those of you who've ever used the current RPG makers, the way the auto tile system works is, let's use Pixel Game Maker for an example. See how I have this right here? It's 3 by 3, right? You have a corner, 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 side, side, bottom, up, right? And a good auto tile system would have you use all four of these exactly as they are and draw with it. That's the way it should work. Their auto tile system isn't like that. Instead, you would have a center tile right here, then just to the sides of it, you would have basically a 16 long, 8 pixel wide tile beside it, and then here, then 8 here, 8 here, then a 16 wide, 8 long. So it would only be this small area here, right? And there's not enough room for detail, if that makes sense. So adding in any kind of details that you want to add is really hard. It's really terrible. It's a terrible system. They're saying that they're going to add that. And I'm sitting here going, no, it already has a system. 4.3 has this and they're working on it, and it's far superior. It is far superior and it is better and it doesn't suck. And the fact that they're going to implement the RPG Maker inspired auto tile system is very concerning, and it's not making me happy. I was very vocally against the one they implemented in the Pixel Game Maker. It's bad, gotcha games. It's bad. It's very, 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 very bad. You better make it customizable, and I mean extremely customizable, because if you don't, I'm not going to use it. I don't know too many people who will use it. I don't think you realize how terrible that system is, that nobody uses it. I mean, here's my game project in Pixel Game Maker. None of this was done with auto tiles. None of this. These are done tile by tile. Why? Because that's the best way to go about it. Their auto tile system is lacking. It's always been lacking. The one time it wasn't lacking was in RPG Maker 2003 and RPG Maker XP. Those were the best auto tile features they had, because you could use a full 3 by 3 equal size tiles for your auto tile, just like this. So you could have all kinds of detail, right? Just get rid of that, you know? And instead, yeah, oh, it's so frustrating. I should have maybe turned RPG Maker MV on. I have it on Steam, and I could show you how their auto tiles work, but it's bad. It's very bad. So that's bothersome. Will I still have access to regular terrain tiles in Godot? Because that's what they need to have. Still let me use those, because I'm sorry to tell these guys, but this is terrible. Don't do this. And if you do, make it like classic RPG Maker. Oh God. For easy configuration of collision areas, despite all our changes, we will not be heavily updating the UI. See, this is what's bugging me. The UI is where they should be adding in their changes. The UI is a confusing mess in Godot. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where one thing begins and one thing ends. I don't know I don't know where anything is. I don't know where it begins. I've been trying to learn it. This thing is a confusing mess. It's horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. The only thing that's not horrible, like I said, is the auto tile, the terrain. There it is, terrain sets. Yes, it's called a terrain set. Gotcha games. There's already an auto tile system, and it's called terrains. Oh my God, I'm probably not going to use it. In fact, I can promise you I'm not going to use it, because it's bad. It's always been bad, and it's not customizable. That's the other thing. Make it customizable. If you're going to add that thing in there, make it customizable. If I want to go in and adjust the tiles, the outside of the tiles and everything for drawing, let me do that. Oh. So, it is our intent to be as close to the default Godot UI on release as we can. There are several reasons for this. We want to ensure that as many plugins and add-ons designed for Godot are likely to be compatible with Action Game Maker. Minimizing UI changes is critical here. For those already familiar with Godot node structure workflow, this should enable easy skill transference. No, we're not. We're used to Pixel Game Maker. Who are you making this for? Are you making this for people who use Godot? Or are you making it for people who've been using Pixel Game Maker? Because it sounds like you're making this for people who use Godot. They're not going to care. They're not going to care. You need to focus on the people who've been using Pixel Game Maker and just want more features. Those are the ones you focus on. This is the wrong approach. It just is. For those already familiar with Godot node structure workflows, easy skill transference. No, I mean, because then you're making this software for Godot users. And you should be making it for people who've been using Pixel Game Maker, not for people who use Godot. What are you thinking? There should also be good skill transference for users that learn Godot with Action Game Maker first, but want to access deeper functions beyond what we provide. 3D functionality will not be available at release, as our resources will be focused fully on implementing functionality needed for 2D games. This means that accessing 3D functionality will not be possible, but all of Godot's 2D functionality, or functions, I should say, will be available. For the visual scripting side, we are implementing a new type of node called a game object. Our visual scripting will only be available from these nodes. I hate nodes. I don't understand nodes. I've been trying to learn some Godot. Godot is a confusing mess. That's where I'm frustrated mostly with this, other than the auto tile crap. Our visual scripting will only be available from these nodes, and the visual scripting will not be attachable to default Godot nodes. However, our game object nodes can have default nodes as child nodes, and nodes can be accessed via GDScript. The whole nodes thing is a confusing mess, too. I thought for sure that Action Game Maker was going to be exactly like Pixel Game Maker, but with all the features that are accessible to be used in Godot. And that's not what we're getting. We're getting Godot. This is where my issues are, partly, anyways. We're getting Godot with the ability to work on, you know, objects and whatnot the way you would in Pixel Game Maker, and that's it. And there should have been more. There, I'm hoping there's more that they do to it. Maybe after release they'll do even more. I hope. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, 3D functionality will not be released at release, as our resources will. Where was I? I am so lost. 3D functionality will not be available at release, as our resources will be focused fully on implementing functionality needed for 2D games. This means that accessing 3D functionality will not be possible, but all of Godot's 2D functionality will be available. For the visual scripting side, we are implementing a new type of node called a game object. Or visual scripting will only be available from these nodes. I think I've read all of that. For those who aren't familiar with what Godot Engine is capable of, we suggest you check out the Godot Showcase. And I have it here. Uh, why focus on 2D? We've already received a lot of requests from people hoping to make fully 3D games or mixed 2D, 3D games, commonly referred to as 2.5D. And we love the passion. However, as explained above, Action Game Maker will not allow access to 3D functions at release. Let me explain why in a bit more detail. I'm not really worried about this personally. I don't care about 3D. I think the only thing I wanted to do with 3D was somehow plop a 3D model in the back in the on one of the layers and have it kind of kind of rotate as you go by. If you've ever played Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you'll know what I'm talking about. There are areas where the backgrounds are buildings made of polygons. And that's all I wanted to do. That's it. Otherwise, completely 2D. But yeah, um, creating high-level visual scripting for 3D is very different. God, my brother's fixing to be up. From 2D, and it requires a lot of work that doesn't overlap with 2D scripting. While it can be done, the implementation and QA costs added to make sure both 2D and 3D functionality is working as expected is too much for us to bear simultaneously, and it was decided that we'd like to get the 2D functionality in your hands as soon as possible. Godot has separated the 2D and 3D functionality, which results in hybrid projects requiring that you create and work in a 3D project, not a 2D project. This means you lose some of the advantages and convenience of Godot's full 2D pipeline. It also increases the complexity of settings and import operations roughly by a factor of two, uh, decreasing ease of use for people making pure 2D games. Yeah, there's no point in the 3D stuff. You can just leave the 3D stuff out. There are other reasons for our decision, but this outlines the primary reasons for focusing Action Game Maker on on the 2D experiences. We do sincerely apologize to users wanting to work on 3D or hybrid projects. That said, let us provide some hope to users wanting to make hybrid projects. This decision only applies to the initial release. We are intending to review the issue again after the initial launch period has ended. We would like to work with the community on figuring out how to implement the additional complexity of 3D production in a tool designed around high level visual scripting. Your feedback will be critical in making such an update a reality. Supporting the Godot community. We've also received several voices of distrust. How do we know you're going to give back and not just take? And similar comments. We agree and think it correct that we should be a positive impact on the Godot community. But what form should that be? Code. If you figure out something that you have that you can give back, no matter what it is, that's how you give back. They're saying when you take from a project like this, you should give back something code related. You have to give back code. Give something. It doesn't have to be everything that you're creating because it's a product. You're trying to make money, but you need to give something back. We see our first step towards fulfilling this desire is making sure that we make Godot accessible to everyone with the creative drive, but who struggles with programming. The big transition in 2023, moving from Godot 3 to 4, represented a lot of change. Many new features and improvements were added to Godot 4, but some features were lost in the process. While there are some important reasons for doing so, one of the lost features was Godot's visual scripting system. This means that Godot raised the barrier of entry for many people. While we understand the argument in favor of programming, the reality is that simply not everyone is going to be able to clear the hurdle programming represents. And they're right. They're absolutely right. I'm not a programmer. I understand their visual flowchart scripting thing. I understand it. It makes sense to me, and I've been able to do a lot with it. We would like for everyone with the desire to make the game they have inside their head. And with the current Pixel Game Maker MV, we've had game designers, illustrators, novelists, composers, editors, content creators, and more show off their creativity to excellent results. We would like for people like that to be able to get started working with Godot, to see what Godot has to offer and become members of the Godot community in their own right. That's not what I want, though. I don't think that's what a lot of people using Pixel Game Maker want. We don't care about learning Godot. I don't care about learning Godot. I care about getting a new tool that's pretty much exactly like Pixel Game Maker, but with more features. And that seems to not be what you're giving us. And that's where I'm frustrated and even a bit angry. Why? Why would this be the direction you'd want to go in? Because it does sound more like you're trying to cater to Godot users. You're not trying to cater to people who've been using Pixel Game Maker. And I can guarantee you're going to hear outcries of disappointment when people start using it and they're like, why is this just Godot? There's going to be a lot of people who use Pixel Game Maker and they're like, this is not like Pixel Game Maker. This is not, no, this is bad. You're going to get some negative feedback. I'm going to be the first one to give you this negative feedback and a warning. You're going to get more people complaining. I'm not going to be the only one complaining. And not just over the UI stuff and making it basically Godot. It's still just Godot. You need to do more. You got to do a bit more. We would like for people that like that to be able to get started working with Godot. I don't care about Godot. Really not. I've been trying to wrap my head around Godot. I don't understand Godot. I've been sitting here trying to figure out Godot. I don't know what I'm doing. The only thing that I know about, and just, I don't know how to access it. I don't get how to access it. This whole level thing is confusing. You know what? Quit for a second. Let's just quit for a second. Let's keep reading this for a second. By having the UI for Action Game Maker be based on the Godot 4 UI, by having our visual scripting system extended by GDScript, by having wide support for existing plugins, we are able to create opportunities for our users to grow and interact with the Godot community. I don't think this is the good idea. If this is actually the approach you're taking, I don't think it's a good idea. And I was going to buy this day one, but now, nope, not buying it day one. I'm very skeptical now. Good job. Good job. I'm very skeptical. This is a bad idea. This is the wrong approach. I don't want the Godot UI. I want the Pixel Game Maker UI. You hit gold with that. What are you thinking? Oh my God. This is wrong. And of course, we will consider it a job well done if our users decide to switch to making 3D games with Godot and learn GDScript and form teams of their own. I'll end this second letter here for now. The next update will be in September, so please wait patiently while we continue to work on Action Game Maker. Okay. Let's open up Godot Engine again. I'm going to have to delete that project and do another one. This video has been way longer than I wanted it to be, but it can't be helped. So, first off, let's remove this. Yes. Now let's, open asset library. Blue, 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 blue. Platformer. It's the same one I just had. We're just doing it again. I hate how it keeps trying to put everything in a C drive. This goes out to the Godot developers. Stop making me go to the C drive. That's not where I put anything. That's not where anything of mine ever goes. It's never gonna go in that drive. I tend to put things in my other drives. Let's just go here. Wow. Let's not. Let's just do it here. I always put it there. Yeah, just go for it. So the reason I went ahead and uploaded, yeah, this is, like I said, this is a long video. I didn't mean for it to be so long, but it's frustrating. All right. I don't know how to see. It's the same as the other though. So how do I see? This is always going to be confusing to me. You can open and close that. That's good. But there's a lot here I don't know and I don't understand. But there was another project I had on here, and I guess I deleted it, but because I can't find it now. So there's a lot wrong here. Number one, I don't like their auto tile system. and I know what auto tile system they're proposing, and it's a bad idea. Unless it's like RPG Maker 2003, no. Don't do it. You're just going to upset people. Well, you're going to upset me anyways. I can't speak for others. Like I said, I was ready to buy Action Game Maker day one because I thought it was going to be UI and everything was going to be more like Pixel Game Maker's UI. Pixel Game Maker has a wonderful UI. This is a bad UI. This is a confusing mess. It's an absolute mess. It's an absolute mess. I have no idea what's going on here. It's an ass. Yeah, well, like I said, this is what I'm not a programmer. The fact that they removed their visual scripting, I've never seen it, so I don't know. Um, how do you, ooh, okay, didn't mean to grab that. There we go. Didn't mean to grab it. Apparently I grabbed it. I don't understand the scenes here. I understand the scenes of Pixel Game Maker. I understand this perfectly, but I don't understand it in Godot. I don't know what I'm doing here. Um, I've shown this off before, but I'm going to go into it again. Maybe it'll open some crap up and I'll be able to edit some things. Yeah, see, I can't even tell where the level ends and begins outside of all this. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. No idea what's going on here. Is the level, where is the level? Is it right around here? See, I don't know, but level, background, tiles. There's this. So they already have something and it's called a, right here, it's called a terrain. And, ooh. What is going on here? This video is not working out the way I want it to because I can't. Yeah, that's one of the problems. I can just kind of show you now that the UI is bad. I don't understand what's going on here. Node history. I don't know how well, that's not helping. How do I select and draw? How do I, well, that's, no, how do I shift to terrain? No. Like, there's the level. I don't get it. I don't get what I'm doing here. Well, there's that. And then there's that. So, there's videos on YouTube. It has it has something called terrains, which are auto tiles, which is already there, which is what they should be using, and instead they're not going with that. That's bad. That's number one. My big problem is the UI. I don't want to use this UI. I don't know what I'm doing here. And I didn't have this much issues when I started using Pixel Game Maker. Pixel Game Maker has a good UI. It has everything organized. That's your main word, organized. This is organized very well. This is a great maker. This is great. It's great software. The UI for what they're making, it sounds like they just want to take this. This is it. This is all they're doing. And then they're adding in another node or some shit. This is horrible. I don't like Godot Engine. And I was hoping they were just going to change up the UIs and everything. I thought they were going to organize things. That's my main thing. Organization, whatever. I'm trying to talk and I can't think straight. Bless me, I sneezed. So yeah, I don't know how to I don't know how to edit this. Like, how do I edit uh I I I don't see what I'm doing here. It's all empty now. I don't know. This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. Look, this is better basically. I'm very disappointed. Um so the way auto tiles here work, I think I've talked about it already, but it needs to be made out of 3 equal tiles. I don't know if they're going to watch this video. I don't know. I'm frustrated. I'm sorry. I'm frustrated. And after reading all that and getting a better understanding of what's going on here, I can't say I'm excited for this. I can't say I'm going to buy it. I was saying I was going to buy it day one, but if it's just Godot engine with some little extras that they came up with, I'm not buying it. I have no interest in buying it. You're going to have to go in and do more. You're going to have to make the workflow and everything like this. An organized workflow like this needs to be implemented into Godot. I don't want to learn Godot. I'm sitting here right now just confused as hell. I don't know what this is. I have no idea. This blue line, I'm thinking, represents the stage section or whatever. But anyhow, I don't know. This is bad. 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 Do you understand me? Bad. This has been the goof. I'm frustrated. I'm very frustrated. I'm not happy. And if the folks who are working on this see this video, I'm probably not going to buy it now. Sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. You're going to have to do more than what it sounds like you're doing. I'm out.